This is a View from the Bridge, official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. Today is Tuesday, the 20th? 20th of September, and my name is Patrick Smith. Yep, we're back. We have hockey. Catch us through Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on your normal podcast provider, SoundCloud, and now on YouTube. Hello, where you can see our faces, maybe a video too, with the goals, interviews, and the likes. But we had actual ice hockey take place this weekend in the Premier Sports Elite Ice Hockey League and the Premier Sports Challenge Cup. Do you like the full names there? Went for the full name, sponsors and all going in. Your Line Belfast Giants took on the Dundee Stars and the Five Flyers and walked away with 4 points. But we are days away from the Giants returning to SSE Arena action. And that 4-point weekend started with 11 goals. And for the lads wearing white and nice new white helmets as well, and teal. The big weekend ahead, not least with the excitement of the homecoming and the potential now for an even larger crowd given the decision this week from the Northern Ireland executive. But however, we have lots to talk about, and let me start as always by introducing my three good friends that I can see here in front of me. Mr. David Mcghimsey, how are you?
Good evening, Patrick. I'm very well, thank you. It's been long overdue that we've got our own team to talk about. It's been it seemed like a long time since we had some actual Belfast Giants stuff to mull over and critique and pull apart, but it was a good weekend, so looking forward to getting into it.
And we have a lot of work to do with regards to stats, podcasts, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah,
yes, all that circus is back. Mr. Kitchen, busy no doubt with the big game just around the corner.
Yeah, that was, as you said, the top of the show there. It's great news that we got the okay to get the full building open, so it's a matter of just trying to do our best to get it filled, and looking forward to it. As Davy says, it's been far too long since there's been some sort of action in the SSE Arena that didn't involve somebody getting jabbed.
Very true. And back with us after a bit of a hiatus last week with his second love, here on his first love, A View from the Bridge after a night out with his third love. How are you, Joe Neal?
I'm not naming any of those loves, to be honest. Yeah, all good, boys. Very happy to see your faces. Just back from a lovely dinner. I've had a couple of Prosecco's. One of it. The Giants have scored 11 goals, 4-point weekend. Couldn't be any better, really.
I think everybody's been out there except for you, Davy. Are you okay with that?
What can I do, mate? Somebody has to, I've spent 8 hours today.
You got to do all this. You got to do all this
and analysing the Dundee game. So it's been
plenty of stuff to do.
Thanks to H.J. Martin for his time.
Well, lads, listen. We need to get a move on here because La Liga follows us. We're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the first game of the weekend, and that was, of course, against the Dundee Stars. It was a 6-3 win for your Belfast Giants. Goals for the Giants coming from Ben Lake, Lewis Hook, JJ Picanich. He scored 2, and David Goodwin scored 2. The goals for Dundee Stars came from Kyle Haas, Connor Sills, and Philip Sanch. Adam Morrison, 36 saves and 6 goals against. Tyler Beskorani, 28 shots on, 3 goals against. Your referees were Toby Craig. And back to haunt you, Davy, Robin Elliott. Don't think it's that Robin Elliott.
Different one, I think.
Different. I'll have to hook out that video of you and the other Robin Elliott. Anyway, let's start with you, Davy. A great result for the Giants. Considering that we were coming into this game relatively cold, a lot of the other teams have had pre-seasons. Giants had absolutely no pre-season. But, I didn't think they showed that much rust.
I liked a lot of what I saw. I thought we controlled large portions of the game. We certainly controlled large portions of the ice. We transitioned very well. Some really, we're seeing a lot of these guys for the first time in real life, if you like. We've studied their little clips and stuff on the internet. We started the game quite well, getting that early goal through Ben Lake, and then coming up with a helper in the second. Before he went off, he took a bit of an awkward hit from behind. I talked to Simon about it. Didn't think it was a particularly bad hit on him, but I think he's just unlucky. He's caught his face on the dasher board on the way down, just sort of on the shelf, and then he's obviously missed the rest of the game. That line of Goodwin, Conway, and Pickenett obviously were outstanding. Boucher brings and Cooper bring incredible speed, and I think you've seen a bit more from Boucher perhaps on Sunday night rather than Saturday. But I was talking to Omar Pasha earlier on today about it, and we agreed that Dundee aren't a bad side. They're quite physical, a little bit more physical than I expected them to be. they didn't really let us chip and chase too much, but then what they did do was they offered the blue line up to us, so we were able to get into their zone a wee bit easy and set up. And then you see the 2 goals that we got on the power play. One on the power play, one 4-on-3 power play. We were able to get really down low and control the puck really well, and we were able to get shots away on Morrison, who played quite well in that. But I think the quality scoring opportunities certainly came from the Belfast Giants. The Dundee Stars had plenty of chances. The Besco kind of was pretty perimeter stuff, and he was able to deal with it well. We didn't let them get inside on us very much at all. And as I think Adam Keefe said in the period break, talking to him, we were sloppy at times, but to be expected with coming off all we've been doing is training. So get that boat trip onto the boys, get the bus trip onto the boys' legs there, and came out and scoring 6 goals away from home. It's not to be sniffed at. Good performance, I thought.
Simon?
Yeah, I think Davy summarised the game very, very well. I thought I didn't get to watch the game live. I watched it on Saturday night when I got home, and I thought we were really, really good. Considering that we haven't played any games, and there's a couple of guys there that that formed a good bit of chemistry very, very early on, which is great. Long may it continue. And I'm just sitting watching the highlights as it's going here. We scored some really good goals as well. I mean, the 5th goal, or the movement down low for the 5th goal, the finish was absolutely superb as well. So I know Adam was very, very happy the way the boys performed. You've got to hand it to Dundee. Every time we go there, they make it a hard game. And that was no different this weekend. I was speaking to a few of the lads this morning, and they were saying that, Dundee are a good team. They're going to take points off other clubs this year, and, hopefully they'll not do any against us, but they're really strong defensively. Davy's touched on good goaltending from Morrison at the weekend again. They're going to get stronger as the season progresses. It's for me, it's a matter of, it's the first game of any season is important, but after such a long break, with everybody away and the huge travel and support that were behind them, in the stands as well, was absolutely superb. You've got to hand it to the Giants faithful who made the crossing over. And there's some people come up from England, and some people came from Scotland as well. So it's overall, you can't ask for any better. You get 6 goals on the board. Besco wasn't happy with one of the goals. I think it was the first one, actually, a big slapper. That actually might have been the second one. Second one that literally ran right over top of his glove. But he said the Taff, "We'll just get the bad ones out of the way earlier on the season." So, he brushed that off very, very quickly. Strong performances from a few different players. But to be honest, I thought Ciaran Long, who was asked to play defence, was absolutely brilliant. I texted him after the game, after I seen the game. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning when I got finished it on Sunday morning. And I sent him a text, and he replied the next morning. And I thought he was really, really good. He did not look out of place. So it's, 2 points, 6 goals. And a win heading back into FIFA next night.
Joel, as lots been said by these two guys, the Stars did look very quick. Obviously they've had a little bit of a pre-season. We know what we get with Omar Pasha's sides. We know that they have that breakout and they are very, very dangerous. And they were dangerous in this game, but the Giants, with Ciaran Long stepping in at the back, did look strong.
Yeah, I honestly think sometimes the Stars don't get enough respect, especially in their own building. Even going back over the past 8, 9, 10 years, I remember going to the Dundee Ice Arena as being a bit of a bogey trip. There are times we have dropped points there. There's times that we've struggled to score against Dundee. And to be honest, I thought they come out of the traps really well. I thought they find great zone time on the Giants. But it's really the pace of that game, I think, changed midway through the second whenever Beskorowany got a bit of contact in the crease from the Finnish guy whose surname I'm not going to try to pronounce. I thought it was encouraging.
You got this is on Friday.
Really? I'll do my practice. Sorry, boys. It's early doors. I'm shaking the rust off myself. I think the Giants' willingness to match that physicality straight away is really what stamped their sort of mark on the game. I think we're fantastic. That power play goal in the second period, the cohesion of that power play unit for having not played together before, it's one of the hardest things to put together as well. You've seen how many countless times people freaking out because we're struggling for zone time time on the power play, whatever else. It was great to see that come together. Maybe Besko wasn't happy with a couple of those shots that went glove side, but listen, if that's the worst rust that you have to shake off at the start of the season, no complaints whatsoever. I think Sis is 100% and Ciaran Long, the two-way player. Like, I'm dying for Longer to have a breakout year similar to the way he did in his last year in Manchester. And let's be fair, in the last Giants season, the season before last, he struggled for ice time to really prove himself. So to see him become a bit more of a utility player, fantastic. But I'm probably going to point out David Goodwin over the course of this season. He is back to me as a brand new player. I think he's looking absolutely fantastic. And I'm interested to see, he obviously joined us late during that last campaign, and with a full kind of training camp in the books and knowing a few of the boys and getting back to it, so excited to see what he'll bring to this lineup.
And not of the head for you, Davy, about David Goodwin.
Yeah, one thing about David Goodwin, I would take away his goals that he scored and assists, and he was on the ice a lot. Haven't seen the ice time from Saturday's game yet, but he was involved in 2 major turnovers that led direct to goals, hard in the forecheck, and then yes. I think it was the sort of rubber stamp goal, the 6th goal. He's gone in, he's got body position on the D-man, took it off and gone in, popped it in the net. But the one before that, where he had to do all the dirty work down low, win the puck back for the team, I thought we forechecked really well. The whole team, all 3, maybe 3.5 lines of them, forechecked really well, turned the puck over well in Dundee's zone. So, but Goodwin, especially there, was notable because it led directly to 2 goals.
I'm going to move this on to the next game, guys. Just want to say that they are interviews are on Elite League website and the Elite League Twitter from both Omar Pasha and Adam Keefe. And of course, you can get the highlights from Dundee Stars TV. And we move on to the game on Sunday night at SSE Arena. 1,652 people got to see the Belfast Giants take on Fife Flyers, backstopped by Shane Owen. A 5-1 win for your Belfast Giants. Jordan Boucher, Slater Doggett, David Goodwin, Scott Conway, and Jordan Boucher once again were the 5 scorers. And for the Fife Flyers, who got the opening goal through Greg Chase. Shane Owen in goal for the Fife Flyers, 48 shots against, 5 goals against. And on the other side, Jackson Whistle, back in the Belfast Giants colours, 22 shots against, 1 goal against. Referees this time, Alan Ward and Toby Gregg for the second time in 2 nights. Maybe a bit of chat about him, a few calls. I know Omar Pasha wasn't very happy with a couple of calls on Saturday night, but that is something we'll come back to. I'll start with you. Says we had a slow first period. Maybe we were lucky to only be 1 goal down.
Again, yeah. I mean, I watched the game again. I don't think it's a fair reflection, Paddy. We dominated the first period. To be honest, we dominated the whole game. You get opportunities. Shane Owen was a perfect guy to talk about. He had something to prove. You didn't think I don't think he covered himself as well as he should have had for he's in Belfast the year before last. He played some good games, but he's got big boots to follow after Besko left. So it was always going to be behind the black ball. But Shane Owen's a really good goalie. And he played really, really well again on on Sunday night. Fife are also down a couple of imports, I'm led to believe as well. So, when you're missing 2 imported players who would take up a lot of minutes, whether they're playing defence or forward, that's always going to hurt you as well. But honestly, I have the opportunity to speak to some of the boys and spoke to Adam and Mace about this morning as well. We absolutely dominated the game. They came out of the first period 1-0 up. And then again, we sort of switched it on. It's the same as Saturday. He's got a couple of goals in the second period. I think it was 3 in the second period, sorry, and then 2 in the third. And some of the goals, and I know they're just watching the highlights here again. Some of the goals we scored at the weekend, and especially Jordan Boucher's 2 goals against Fife, top notch. That first finish against Fife, he has not got much room to stick at top shelf. And then the second goal is just pure class. It's absolutely outstanding. He comes down low and to help out his defence in his own zone. Skates the length of the ice after getting the puck touched to him by Ciaran Long. Bounces off the wall. Defenseman doesn't know what to do. And then he puts a jets on and drives to the net. You can't ask any more from a forward. So if he's going to do that all season long, he's going to annoy people. And I was watching a few people on Twitter. You weren't not even Giants or Fife fans having a bit of a chirp at him already, saying he's a bit like Darryl Lloyd. I'll take that all day long.
Yeah, right on.
That's it. Well, Joe, that's something that some people have been saying about Boucher and his attitude on the ice. And as Sis says, that goal that was deemed as being, I think it was goal of the week for the on the Elite League with regards to the choices they made today. It was an absolute belter. The way he drops shoulder, goes straight past that D man and drives to the net.
It's the intangibles that I'm already a fan of with Boucher. There's a fantastic photo from that night of his celebration up to the, as Sis said, a large crowd of traveling Giants fans who made the trip over. I saw the interview in the Beltel with him today where he said he didn't actually know that game fans travelled on the road to see the team. He said that was a total surprise to him. Said they were fantastically loud and there was a real energy and he can't wait to get back. He has, to be honest, a wee bit of that Darryl Lloyd air about him, and that he just really feeds off that energy and has a lot of fun with it. He's just a guy who looks like he's going to enjoy playing his hockey here. I think he's going to continue to deliver the way he has, but I couldn't echo Sis enough. That fifth goal to finish it up, that's the goal of somebody who's mid-season and firing full jets. Just incredible.
Davy, in comparison to the Five Flyers, weren't at the races. Like you say, they got that early goal, but as Sis said, they dominated most of the game. But overall, the Five Flyers fans don't seem to be very happy with the way that they've opened the season and pre-season as well. But the Giants, however, again, don't seem to have suffered so far of not having a pre-season.
It's difficult because fans we're a fickle bunch, and we always just look at results sometimes without performances. And I didn't think the Five Flyers were terrible, but I did think that the sort of back up what Simon says, that yes, we might have been lucky not to concede more in the first period, but we're also a bit unlucky not to score in the first period. And to say it wasn't a great first period. We can't use the bus legs. We can't. It's like 5 to Dundee's not a million miles. But once we got that goal in the game, it was almost game over. Getting the equaliser was game over. I seen Boucher kind of has the same amount of head fakes as Shane Johnson. It's been a long time since I've seen somebody doing a D-man with just a shake of the head. But speed to burn, and like you see those finishes if you're lucky enough to be watching this on YouTube, or we'll maybe put the highlights up before now. But some of the finishes, as Simon's talked about earlier, really, really pretty goals. We'll talk about this, I'm sure, across the course of the season because been analysing these games. We scored 3 or 4 goals crossing that Royal Road at the weekend. I'm a massive fan of doing that, and making that, you have to make goaltenders like Adam Martin, Shane Owen, not the only way to beat them, but a major way of beating them is making them move left or right, because goalies don't like going post to post, and if you can get them going that way, it's an opening. Nice result to go there and score 5 goals. We've had Joel talked about going to the DIM having problems, going to the KIA, we've had problems as well in the past, and 2 tricky enough opening games. Good to get those games out of the way and get those 2 60-minute performances out of the guys coming into the SSE. They're not having their home opener without any games under their legs now. So I'm expecting good things this weekend coming.
The highlights are from Five Flyers TV, and you get Todd Dudiam and Adam Keefe's interviews on the official Elite League Twitter site. And what I'm going to do just quickly, lads, it's very difficult to say considering these are 2 games on the road, and with Friday's game coming thick and fast, it's right around the corner, and there's such cliches. But who this weekend overall? I'll start with you, Davy. Who were the standout players? Who were the players that you thought yourself they look like they're mid-season form, or they look like they could be standout?
Like Simon talked about Ciaran Long, which is great. We've seen him before. We know a little bit what to expect from Ciaran, and he would have expected better out of himself. After coming in, he knew he had to get his feet on the counter at the Belfast Giants, find what his role was going to be. Unfortunately, that first shortened season didn't really pan out for him. He's came back in, new broom sweeps clean, and he's been given an opportunity at the back end. I like him. I thought Mark Garside had a really, really strong weekend. He played a lot more ice time than I was perhaps expecting him to play. He played in every situation and he did no harm. Reinhardt, I really, really liked. If I'm going D first, if I'm allowed to pick a D man first, he's Matt Pellich's size. He skates effortlessly. He's just got that, to use it, giant. He's got a giant stride. He doesn't have. You see the likes of Pickenich or trying to think Cooper, who look when they're going fast, their legs are going fast. Reinhardt goes fast and his legs are going slow. Just a physicality thing. I think he's going to be really, really good for us. going forward, like we talked about Goody and Pickenich and those guys, Cooper. I thought 4 or 5 of them had really strong weekends. I want to see a wee bit more out of Tyler or out of Soy. I want to see, obviously, we know what Darcy Murphy can do. All these guys are going to take time, get their ice time and find their feet. I thought in the circle we struggled a bit over the course of the weekend. And when we have that puck possession, we are a completely different team. When we got the puck off Dundee and we were able to transition from our own end, that's where we created all our offense. And we spent a lot of time and a lot of energy chasing that puck back because we weren't winning those draws. So I'm sure Simon will fill us in, but I'm sure that's something they're working on in practice and they have been for the last couple of weeks. That'll take time just to get used to the lines and what way they drop the puck, etc. I know you think they drop it straight, but there's different linesmen have different ways of dropping it. But those guys are just something to work on. So I think puck possession would be critical for us and get another few boys in the game. But Reinhardt at the back and Goody up front were my 2 standouts the weekend.
Simon.
Yeah, again, it's hard to argue with what Davy said, but Reinhardt is, again, he reminds me in the game of again, a lot of it's played up here. He's got the hockey smarts, which makes the game an awful lot easier. Very, very strong skater, but he sees the ice very, very well. He had most of the weekend he was playing with Ciaran Long, who's not a natural defenseman. So he's sort of having to keep an eye on him, playing with new teammates in front of a new goalie, trying to get the communication right. And it's all very, very important. He does it effortlessly. He's really impressive. I get the chance to watch him in practice, and he skates very, very well. He's got a really good wrister. He can certainly, he knows where the target is as well. But it's all about the hockey smarts. If you watch the power play, he's a quarterback on the power play at the top end, and the way Adam's throwing the puck about now for the power play, I was looking through the stats earlier. I'm pretty sure we are 3 for 6 on the power play. Davey, you might point out if I'm wrong there. I think it's 3 for 6 on the power play over the weekend. If you remember back to the year, the last year we played, can't remember what year it was. We really struggled in the power play, especially later on in the season. If we had got that going, we would have been right up there, really pushing for the top end. And fortunate enough, we ended up winning the league anyway because nobody else picked the trophy up. So we're still a reigning champions. We haven't mentioned Lewis Hook. Lewis Hook at the weekend, David. Scored another good goal. Laker, unfortunately, didn't play much on Saturday night because he took that hit, but he scored the first goal. He assisted in the second goal. Ben Lake does not take a shift off. It's 100 miles an hour every single shift. I would take a team with Ben Lakes all day long. Very, very underrated. So again, look, I was watching a lot of stuff coming over Twitter at the weekend. How good the season's going to be. How's this? Guys, we've played 2 games. Let's not get carried away. There's a long, long way to go. And I don't want to burst anyone's bubble. But as I say, it's only 2 games we've played. We've got 2 wins, which is great, and you can't be any better than that. But as I say, it's a long, long way to go.
I have to agree with you. Something I picked up from watching the Dundee game at the time was how fluid the power play was and how quickly we were moving the puck about, how quickly the legs were moving and how many chances we were creating. Something that maybe was, as you say, maybe missing from the last time. And we're just going to, from here, we're just calling it last season. From last season, it's something that I felt was maybe a bit missing, and we're already seeing it from right off the bat with this Belfast Giants team.
Well, Paddy. Adam's, he's experienced. He's experimenting with a lot of the guys on the power play. I mean, one practice last week, he had Hookie, Longer, Tyler Soy, Slater Doggett, and I think it was Darcy Murphy. So he's experimenting who's there. Cam Knight hasn't played a game yet. He picked up a bit of a niggle, and just for safety reasons, he didn't play at the weekend. Hoping he's going to be ready to go this weekend. But Adam and Steve both expect him, the power play, to be a quarterback on the other power play as well. So, again, like if you can have strong special teams all weekend, which I don't think we conceded the power play goal, did we?
No,
we didn't.
So, strong
100% the PK.
Pardon me?
100% on the PK.
100% on the PK, and then what's that work out? Is 66% on the power play? That's brilliant. I mean, if you kept that up all season long, you'd be doing well.
A good start.
We always go for a number. Anything over 100 combined is a really strong special teams. So you're sitting, I know it's only 2 games in the season, but sitting at 150% is pretty tidy. Just before you go on to Joel, I thought the speed that we attacked with at the weekend was outstanding. Speed kills, as Steve Thornton has said over a number of seasons now since he came back in. The teams have got younger, they've got faster, they've got leaner. We talked all about this, and you could really see how quickly we were able to turn defensive turnovers into attacking opportunities, and the guys getting in and getting shots on that power play that Simon's talking about. We have had, if it's a criticism or a critique, reliance on trying to cycle the puck back for the one-timer from the blue line, and just try and hope something goes through. 2 power play goals from working in down low, 3 guys turning to each other and getting into the low slot and that's where the goals come from in hockey. I'm going to say more than 90%, without having any stat to back that up at the minute. I'd say more than 90% of hockey goals come from that mid to low slot area. Simon might be able, through experience. Yes, you get goals from the outside. These goaltenders in this league now let very little in from the outside. So you've got to have Neil Russells, you've got to have boots in front of the goalie, taking his eyes, all that good stuff. Or you've got to move it in down low. And these guys moved it so well and so fast at the weekend that it all really bodes well.
Well, one thing, sorry, Joel, I am going to come to you just
You're
a second.
okay.
One thing I'm going to say as well, it took away from just, again, we're judging this on 2 games, and for me, mostly judging it on the first game against the Dundee Stars, on that penalty kill, was how aggressive we were in the penalty kill, how much we were pushing them back into their own zone. Very reminiscent of one of our greatest penalty kills ever, who was
George Awada.
George Awada, exactly. I apologize, because when you're trying to get my head into this new team and see who it was, I can't remember which player it was, but there was a point in that, I think it was in the second period, where we were just pushing them back on the penalty kill. It was really good to see. Sorry, Joel, I'll come to you.
Before Joel goes, one criticism I would have, and it came across in at least 2 or 3 goals that we conceded the weekend, was that we pinched with 3 men beyond the puck and maybe not that third man high, and D men coming down the wall to try and pinch puck, and a couple of times a stick in the lane. There's a stick through Gary's legs, and he's beat for pace, not because he's 5 yards behind him, not because he's slower or anything, and they've scored from that. And 2 or 3 times we conceded goals, so that'll be something I know that Simon will see them working on in training. We always talk, and Kiefer talks about that third man high, and Derek Walser before him, and I don't know who the coach was before that. Might have been Doug Christensen. They always talked about having that. I can't remember who was it before Derek Walser.
Paul Davy.
Before Paul Davy. We didn't need to worry about defense when Paul Davy was here. Just
Doug Christensen.
But we just
Thorts had a season.
Oh yeah.
Best not talk about that.
Friend of the show.
Wasn't a great season for us.
Thanks very much.
wasn't a good season, but that'll be Simon. That'll be something we'll be working on. We'll have to always be concentrating there. That if we put 3 in very, very high on the puck, 3 going the other way, gets odd man rushes, and that's not what we want to be seeing.
That's all we have time for at View from Bridge this week.
Sorry, Joel.
Joel, your standout players from the weekend.
Yeah, I thought we were good. Yeah. Look, the curse of going last, the boys have made excellent points there. I think the 2 that I would pick up on, apart from we've already talked about, I think Boucher and Goodwin are mid-season form right now. Goodwin was everywhere. Goodwin was his zone injuries were fantastic. He was forcing turnovers. That goal to finish the Dundee game after a Pasha timeout, to just skate right into their zone and take the puck, rob it, and skate the gut and score was beautiful. Boucher, fantastic. I'll pick up Rayner. I think Rayner in a strong decor, like whenever you've got Griffin Reinhardt on your decor, it's going to be a big shout for you to be the best among those. But he absolutely dropped the boom in that, I think it was the first period, almost killed a guy. Looked absolutely fantastic. And again, 100% record in the PK. Rayner to me is...
Fine.
Did he really?
That's it, everyone.
I'll give you the money myself. I think Rayner's come back just reveling in the thankless aspects of the game and doing it very, very well. Limiting scoring opportunities was important at the weekend, and also I'll let you come back in, Davy. Come on. This is like Nolan. Quick note on Lewis Hook, opening his account early. So thrilled to see that. I think Hookie came back last season, as you say, Paddy, with much improved feet. I think his skating was much more fluid. I think he had so much more fitness. His conditioning was better. His feet were better. And I'm really hoping he starts to kind of put it all together. I've always drawn parallels between Lewis Hook and kind of Craig Peacock as prime with the Giants in that kind of early to mid 2010s, and I'd love to see a similar sort of outcome for him.
Davy, sorry.
No,
you go first.
Did anybody notice Craig Peacock there on Sunday night?
Nope.
Didn't notice him at all.
Not in the slightest. I watched some of the game back and didn't see him at all.
Hope that doesn't go back to to curse me, but he's I don't know what's up the Peaks, but anyway.
Davy,
carry on, Davy.
Oh, we're talking. So Simon's talking about Kevin Rain nearly killing somebody and then blocking pucks for fun, and we had this little charity thing going. You can still get involved if you want. Pick a player, pick a stat, pick an amount. Player does said thing, pay your money kind of thing, and we'll all give it the charity that Rainer chooses at the end of the season. But that shift,
I went for goals scored by Jackson Whistle, which I'm still.
Yeah, that's very
£100 for everyone.
Somebody's offered £250 for a Andrew Dixon shutout. So
yes, word.
You never know. Yeah, so Rainer in that shift, he's absolutely buried somebody, jumped back up and threw himself in front of a puck, which is like £8 because it's like I'm in for £1, Sam's in for £1, a couple of other people, and I sent the video to him earlier on and said, you need to slow down here, you're going to have us wiped out. And he sent it back with the Mario coin, ding, ding, ding. Says I'm just picking pound coins up here like the Mario kid. So, I'll put that wee video out later. It's very good, but yeah. So if you want to get involved in that, there's money to be made, and I'll update that on Twitter as we go along. But already this weekend, some serious money made for charity.
I was going to try, you know what, I have written down here about talking about the officials. I'm going to strike that. I'm not going to talk about the officials now because it's the first 2 games this season and we could end up talking for another half hour. What I'm going to do is, like I said, the highlights are from Flyers TV. We've tweeted them up at AVFTB. You can see them there for that 5-1 win for your Belfast Giants. A 4-point weekend, and we're going to now hear from some of the lads. Sis went down to training earlier today. We're going to hear from Jeff Mason. We're going to hear from Ciaran Long, but first we're going to hear from the man we've been talking about a little bit there. It's Jordan Boucher.
Joined this morning after practice by Jordan Boucher. Jordan, 4-point weekend to start your Belfast Giants career off. Personally and collectively, the team, you must be happy.
Yeah, super happy. I mean, I think everybody was looking forward to that weekend. Some guys didn't get to play last year. Some guys get to play with no fans. So it was just it was a fun weekend, and we got 4 points, so that made it even better.
You went into Dundee, first time ever on a ferry, travelling to a game?
Yeah, it was fun. My first time being on that kind of ferry. Never been. That was a pretty big boat. I don't know what I was expecting, but there was a lot of space, and no, I think guys got to play some cards, and it was fun.
In the Dundee, as you say, coming out with a 6-3 victory. What were you told to expect by the coaching staff and your teammates before the game?
I just expect that everybody was ready to play, which we were. And we knew that Dundee played a few games before we did, so we just kind of wanted to go out there, keep it simple, stay focused, and kind of just put pucks in the net and hopefully get rewarded, which we did.
Then so the night after, you got yourself 2 goals and 2 absolute beauties as well. You must be happy with the result and again personal side of things.
I was. It's just always nice to get that monkey off your back early in the season kind of thing. So I was happy they went in, but I was more happy that we got the 4 points.
You're home. First game this weekend. Belfast Giants fans are going to be in the building. Looking forward to it?
Oh, yeah. I think this is going to be an electric game. It's been a while since I've played a home game with fans around, so it's going to be an home ice advantage. I think the guys are extremely ready for it, and it's going to be interesting and fun.
Thanks, Jordan.
What time is it there, sir?
It's 11:14 after practice. And speaking to the Belfast Giants' latest defenseman here, longer. The switch, how'd that come about? It's not your normal position, but you certainly didn't look out of place.
Kind of came from last season when we had a couple, not last season, sorry, 2 years ago. Ran into a few injuries with Dundee and kind of went back there and did a job. And then obviously towards the end of the season, started playing in the middle a lot and kind of just found it pretty easy back there, and the D have the easiest job in hockey. So, but being a forward, I think it helped from being a forward. I kind of know what I want the D-men to do for me, so I just try to do that.
You played most of the weekend with Griffin Reinhardt, and as I say, I mean the two is at a really good weekend, and obviously picking up the 4 points makes it a lot sweeter. Yeah,
I guess with him playing in the NHL and I've got experience in the NZIHL, I think that really helps. It was good fun. Griff was good to be out there with. Obviously his experience helped me, and he was very vocal and made it a lot easier. But and the forwards, again, they made our lives easier because we barely were in our own end.
Started on Saturday against Dundee. It's always a hard place to go into, but you managed to pick up the 2 points with a 6-3 win.
Yeah, it was a big game. Obviously we had no exhibition games, and it was always going to be tough. But yeah, the boys did well, and we got the job done.
Next night, Fife, another victory, 5-1. And again, a place that's always tough to go into. Going that 1 goal down, but certainly coming back very strong in the second and third.
Yeah, no, it's always tough going into Fife. They've got loud fans, and I think the boys did well. I feel like we controlled the game the first period. We were unfortunate to go down 1-0. The boys just kept it rolling through, and it paid off in the end.
This weekend, you're back home. Belfast Giants fans are going to be loud, and they're going to look forward to this game. I'm sure you guys are too.
Yeah, we're all kind of buzzing already. Just the feeling of getting this whole arena filled would be incredible, and the atmosphere will be great. So hopefully we can put a performance in for the fans and get another 2 points.
Thanks, Ciaran. You're very much appreciated.
No worries there, you wee cratter.
Mace, back to old ways, as we'd like to say, and picking up 4 points from the weekend on a trip that's notoriously hard for us, especially the first weekend of the season, not having any warm-up games. Coaching staff must be happy with both the performances and picking up the points.
Absolutely. The boys turned up and put in a solid effort in both games. And as you said, 2 very tough places to play. They're long trips. The fans in there are loud, and both teams come at you hard. And if they get on top of you, they're hard games to play from behind. So we did really well to start well and play really solid games, for pretty much 60 minutes almost both nights, and definitely happy with the performances and the outcomes.
You've done that ferry travel a lot of times. Everybody has to do it the first time. And how were the boys after experiencing that first trip?
I think overall it went really well. I was talking to a few of the boys, and they said, it was, a few boys felt the waves in the ocean and things, and it's, and then that windy road when you get off the boat isn't easy either. But it was actually a really good trip for us, where we were on the early boat, so we got up early, and guys got a pregame in the hotel. We're able to get a nap and get a bit more adjusted to, get rid of their sea legs, so to speak, before we went into Dundee there on game 1. But overall, I think boys were enjoyed the trip and enjoyed the 2 games and the 4 points for sure.
Dundee, 6-3 victory. Again, it was on the webcast. It looked like a tough game. And Omar Pasha's always got his players up for playing against the big teams as well.
They're a very good team, and they play very, very hard. Our guys did well to handle their pressure and then put them in pressure situations, and we were able to get a lot of ozone possession and other things. And, we won the specialty teams battle both nights, which was key. And like you said, they play hard, and they're good, solid teams. And as they get going, they'll be very tough to beat and take points off teams. So it was really good opportunity for us to go in there and play the way we wanted to play and execute our game plan. And I think the boys did really well at that.
Fife the next night, again, a big travel and support from Belfast Giants, picking up 2 points in Kirkcaldy, never easy, but again a 5-1 victory and a 4-point weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we dominated, pretty much the entire first period, and then all of a sudden found ourselves down 1-0, which the guys did really good to come back from that. And again, our specialty teams were really good. Our pressure up ice on the forecheck was really good, and we had lots of ozone possession time and things that we were really trying to focus on. And it was, I know there was no webcast for it, but it was a solid effort from start to finish.
You were missing Cam Knight. Ciaran Long took the duties on the back end. He did not look out of place in both games.
No, he played really well. He played really solid. His gaps are really good, and as a forward, he has that tendency. He's moving forward, so he's up in the play, and it's something that Kiefer's been kind of toying with and talking about, giving him a look on D for quite some time, and that was certainly the opportunity to get him in and get him tested and tried, and he certainly acquitted himself really well and is a good option for us there. Certainly, if somebody goes down or we need another body back there, he played really, really well.
We're back home this Friday night, Friday the 1st of October, the first live game at the SSE Arena since the 6th of March 2020. I'm sure the boys are looking forward to it.
Absolutely. There's a lot of guys in this team that have never experienced a game night in Belfast, and then the other guys in the team that they haven't experienced it in a year and a half, and we're all excited to get going and get the fans in this building. And, we know that the fans of Belfast have missed hockey, as much as we have, if not more, because some of our players got to get away and play other places last year. So I think it'll be a special night and one that we're all looking forward to.
Cheers, Miss.
Big thanks to Jeffrey Mason. That one catch you out there, Davy?
Oh, yeah.
Big thanks to Jeff Mason, to Jordan Boucher, and to Ciaran Long. We have an interview coming on. We have somebody join us in just a few minutes. Before we get that, we have a couple of things to do. Well, first of all, shout out some of your 3-word weekends that we asked for. Alan Price said roll on Friday. Thomas Brownlee said prepping sports gurn. What else we got? We got Jimmy Squeaker.
Thomas Brownlee said what?
Prepping sports gurn. Actually, he's going to cry on Friday.
Whenever it's Friday night. So am I, to be fair.
Dan Gilpin, decent, pretty decent. Jimmy Squeaker, mighty bush brace. And one more, Peter Stubbs, that's us now. Few bits of news from around the Elite League. Sheffield took the spoils in the first Premier Sports live game. It was on just before La Liga, with an OT win over the Devils in the league. I'm sorry, I don't know what. A big game in the league. It was a big game.
It was I can't believe you don't have it on the soundboard.
You know what? The soundboard's not up and running yet. It will be on the soundboard for next week. Mark my words. You know what? I'm a big fan of Ellie. I like Ellie a lot, but that was pretty funny.
Happens to the best of us.
That win for Sheffield topped off a good weekend. They defeated Manchester 8-3 in Altrincham in cup action. It was a tight 2-1 win for Nottingham at home over Dundee, punctuated by a nice coast-to-coast goal for Ollie Bettridge. Did you see that goal?
Yeah,
quite nice.
Really nice goal.
It's nice to see somebody like Ollie as well at Panther, a young British lad, but doing pretty well and scoring goals like that.
He's a really, really good player. I would take him all day long.
Yeah, and finally, there is a bit of DOPS. If I can find it here, because I'm absolutely not prepared. Talk about people being in mid-season form. I'm absolutely not in mid-season form. Tristan Fry suspended for 1 game for the Guildford Flames. Anybody see what happened?
No.
One game suspension for a boarding against the Manchester Storm. If you want to have a look at the Elite League website, you can check it out. We're totally not clued into it at this moment in time because that's how professional we are. Let's move on. Also, I don't even have the DOPS theme tune. That's where we are at this moment in time. Just an absolute shambles. Anyway, let's get on to our interview. Look at our guest. Really looking forward to adding this one in. I hasten to say one of the elder statesmen of the Belfast Giants, certainly one of the older players, and a man that we all love here in A View from the Bridge. Welcome, Andrew Dickson. How are you, mate?
Yes.
Not bad. How are you, lads?
You don't mind being called the elder statesman, do you, mate?
I am the oldest on the team now.
How's that feel?
It's horrible. I'm not. I wouldn't have came back if I knew. Not
sure does that not mean that everybody now looks to you for the where to go, what to do? You'll get the new guys in, point them in the right direction.
I mean, well, there's a little
guys like Jackson Whistle.
I mean, we've got Garce for that. He can guide the guys a little bit. I don't know. I guess there is a little bit of it when you've been here long enough. People do ask you sort of what the crack is with this, that. But to be honest with you, the organisation's changed a lot since we've last started. We've had a little bit of turnover in staff, and things are different in the rink, and obviously we seen with the jersey reveal and all that sort of stuff that things are a little bit different. So I'm kind of learning on the job too. But no, it's I don't mind. It's okay. As I said, if I'd have known, then I would have been a little bit. I was begging Kiefer to go sign someone else, just so that I don't get all the Zimmer frames and all that stuff when it comes to Secret Santa. But
you're expecting them then?
Oh, 100%. So 100%.
How do you feel this? How it's been the last couple of weeks with bringing the new guys in, and you say there's a new feel to the organisation.
Yeah, it's an odd one. It doesn't feel like any other year. Just because we've had so long off, and obviously, we do have a big turnover. Then we've had a few returning guys as well, good guys that we've had in the past, as you all know. So we're all getting together. I actually think the team's gelling really well. I think the weekend's testament to that. Not easy. We didn't have any pre-season games or anything along those lines, so we were sort of all still getting to know each other. But yeah, I think they've done a good job. Kiefer and Thorts and Mace and all have done a good job of making sure that we go out and do things. You saw we done the annual trip up to Portrush. I believe the supporters club took care of that, so thank you to all them. Obviously we've done everything in around the gyms, and so it's been good, and we've been at the rink a lot. So no, it's going good, and the guys are gelling well. So hopefully that bodes well going forward.
Deco, we saw a video of you today. Simon took a practice, looking really sharp between the pipes, making Kiefer pay for breakfast, letting Mace score one on you. But
I didn't score one, did I did dispute that.
I don't know now.
And Deco, you're absolutely right. It was Besco that came in.
Very good. So we saw a video of you looking really, really sharp and training this morning. Deco, how hard is it to be that guy at the minute who's probably, the third goalie? Besco's going to get game time. Wes is going to get his game time, and hopefully you'll get somewhere along the season. That has to be the carrot dangle, that hopefully you'll get in somewhere along the season, get a bit of game time.
Yeah, no, I knew what I signed up for, don't get me wrong. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can never have. Your goaltender can be strong enough, basically. We all know what we've done a couple of years ago. We all know how capable it is. If I can control, then great. I'll do my thing. And if they don't need me, then they don't need me, and I'll do my thing in practice, and I'll try my best to contribute that way.
Is it a little bit different without your best buddy at the rink now?
A little bit. I mean, it's not. I was literally gaming with him while you were on there. So it's not like I haven't been seeing him or anything like that there. You know what it's like. I mean, just because I don't see him at the rink doesn't mean I won't see him out and about. And he's coming to the game on Friday, so look forward to getting him back in. And I actually said to him, he's playing more hockey now than he was whenever he was playing. He was on the ice last night. He's been doing goalie camps. He's taking Alex on the ice. He's doing coaching badges. I was like, well, unbelievable. But yeah, no, I mean, he's a big miss to the organisation. But Murph, he said to me, he didn't feel like he could do it anymore. He said his knees too sore, his groin's too sore. So you have to respect his decision and just be thankful for everything that he done for the organisation, because he was a hell of a player for the Giants.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, Deco. And it certainly is when you haven't got him sitting beside you, in the locker room, and you spend so much time with him, over the last 10 years as well. You've said it a few times before. He's your best mate, and anybody would miss a character like that in the room.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a big miss. But as I said, I mean, Besco's a great guy. Wes is a great guy on and off the ice. And they've actually done a pretty good job. I actually made a point of asking them to try to help me out, because it's been 18 months and I can't afford 18 months off hockey. I'm not talented enough to have 18 months off and come back in and play at a professional level. I need to be working hard and getting pucks. So we go on every morning with Mace, taking shots and things got there. You seen that the first couple of days when I was on the ice, I was convinced I had long COVID. I'm not joking. I was like, there has to be something wrong, because I literally could not catch a breath on the ice. It was embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. And I felt like I kept myself relatively fit. I was playing football, I was golfing a lot, and go to the gym and things like that there. But there is just something different about actually playing ice hockey. and trying to get to the speed that those guys play at. I mean, the shots still now seem fast. They seem faster than they did before, and it's just because, no disrespect to anyone in Belfast, but I've been training up in Dundonald, and the shots just aren't as quick, unfortunately, and not as sharp. But it's getting there. From last week to this week, it's night and day for me. I feel so much better, feel a lot sharper, and as you said, it's getting there. Simon's seen a few practices, and we're getting there slowly. The other guys are all getting there as well. So I actually think that there's more to come from the team. I think once guys get over this rusty period, then it'll be even better. But the problem is it'll be the same around the league, so it'll even out that way.
Dicko, I did say, up in Dundonald when the training camp started in the start of September, and you came over at one stage. You told me you thought you were having an asthma attack, and I think you're doing yourself an injustice. It's not going to be easy for anybody being off the ice for 18 months. But everybody knows that you're an important part of this squad. It's you're first on the ice, you're last off the ice on many occasions as well. I think you're doing yourself a big injustice there, mate. And I was sitting chatting to. Who was I talking? I was talking to Taff actually earlier on, and a couple of days ago, one day last week, when we're sitting, going through what you have done with regards to your career. I mean, what age did you start skating at? Was it 16, 17?
Yeah, 17, nearly 18. 17 I started playing roller hockey, and then 18 I started playing ice hockey. So 18, 17, around that mark.
If you look at every other player on that ice, I mean, including the British guys as well, all probably started skating when they were 3, maybe 4 years of age. Some of them probably younger. And, for you to come in as a 17-year-old and never put a pair of ice skates on before, and then get in and do what you've done and continue to do what you do. And again, I know Adam thinks very, very highly of you, as does Mason. The rest of the boys as well. And anybody who's been in that locker room, they'll all say you're one of the best teammates they ever had. No doubt about that whatsoever. So it's, what you do, but what you probably don't realize it yourself, but you're massively important to this team. Massively important.
No, well, those are very kind words. So thank you very much. But, I don't know if it's just my personality, but you're never satisfied, right?
That's a good way to be as well.
Not wrong with that.
Whether it's and I'm the same with like golf and whenever I used to skateboard and play football, it's the same thing. You want to do better. But the Giants, I think it's actually whenever you're saying about how late I started, sometimes people knock Belfast and say, oh, they don't give guys the opportunity.
Absolutely.
And I think it's I was going to curse. I think it's rubbish. The opportunity is there. You have a full youth team. You have an elite league team showcasing at the top end of the league every sort of week, every year in, year out for the last, 20-something years now. And it's testament to that. I used to go and take all the coaching and take it on board. So if I can do it late, those guys who are starting earlier definitely have a much better chance to get there. And we're starting to see it now. I actually think we've got a couple of real good players coming through. Max Stewart and Kel Beatty, I'm sure you've seen them on. They're in the Great Britain teams. Stevie Hamill's kids to play with, they're both in the Great Britain teams. And there's a few others, a couple of girls actually as well, are in the Great Britain teams as well. That was never the case whenever I was, skating. Nobody from here was making the GB teams. I used to think the world of Graham Walton because he played for Great Britain, the first player from Northern Ireland. And it's so it's good that these guys are getting into that, and hopefully that'll help spur them on a little bit. And they're looking to go play in England and Scotland and things like that there. And then, hopefully with the way things are going, I think the organisation is moving the right way. And within the next couple of years, it won't just be, one Northern Irish player on the team. It will be hopefully a couple, and they'll be able to contribute.
I don't think there's anybody in the organisation that would disagree with what Simon just said there, but maybe none of us could probably put it as well as Simon just did there. I sat for a while, Dicko, with your player bio for the website this year, and what I found by the end of it was the sentence, the importance of Andrew Dixon to the Belfast Giants cannot be measured by appearances and stats. I think that's the summary for me, and I think the rest of the fan base would be the same. And it's what you say as well about mentality and mindset and not being satisfied. I don't think you're probably here 10 years years down the line if you're not programmed like that. And it's probably been the difference that people undersell mentality for an athlete, and the difference between still being here and not. But yeah, look, sorry. Before we get into it, for those watching on YouTube, the title belt's still on the wall, mate. So rematch at centre ice anytime. I'm ready to go.
You upstairs? What block you in? We're not far away. I'll come over there.
I'm not disclosing my block on the podcast.
He's in block 9, I think, mate.
Okay.
Bring the camera. That's all good content.
Quick one for me, mate. You've obviously been in the locker room now for that kind of decade or more. You've seen championship teams come into Belfast and pass by Belfast. You've been there years that were maybe a little bit leaner. Do you get a sense, maybe it's too early, but you spend a lot of time with these guys. Do you get a sense of where things are going to go early in the season? Can you sense that there's something different about the chemistry of the team, about the people in that room with regard to going on and kicking on and winning championships? Do you recognize it?
Yeah, you can. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have success, but you can see the platform for success. You can sort of see if guys are willing to put in the extra work early on, or if they're just sort of here going through the motions. And that doesn't really happen too much in Belfast. I think that's down to recruitment from Steve and Adam and Mace and all. So they try and do a good job. And I know they speak to coaches and they speak to teammates, or if someone's played with someone else, they'll speak to them. But this year I find it a lot tougher to know, because I just don't know where the rest of the league's at. It's really hard to sort of judge what teams are going to do. We looked good on the ice, and Besco the other day said that he thought the guys looked really good and they were clicking quite well. I think that from what I can gather from the weekend, the coaching staff's really happy with the weekend. Going in there without any preseason games isn't easy.
Nope.
Wi-Fi
can't be easy because he just dropped out. So, yep. Well,
right. Thanks, Nico.
He's on his way over to your flat, Joel.
He's just decided to head to block 9 to take on that wrestling thing. Quick word before he comes back. Quick word about Dicko, Davy.
Look, you don't get invited back 10 or 11 years in a row if you don't have that. Wasn't it intangibles that Joel talked about earlier? You can't measure Dicko in stats. He hasn't played enough games for us. He's never been found wanting for us. And whenever, like Simon's talked about it there, on the ice, first at training, last off the ice at training, to give guys the opportunity, to give goalies a break, to give Besco and Wiss and Murph and whoever it might have been, Stevie Lyle in the past, whoever it might have been, he gives them the chance to go and have a rest while he takes the shots to the head. And I think there's been plenty of goalie sticks broken half and through in the bin there on the way off the ice, both Simon, hasn't there? But, he just keeps coming back day after day with that attitude that, if I get in a game, I get in a game. If not, I'm here to do a job. And he does a job and has never let the Belfast Giants. I love this fella. Absolutely love him. I wish he could stay at the Belfast Giants forever, but, he is now the elder statesman on the team. And he's very stoic about that as well. And, he takes his responsibility for the Belfast Giants, really important. He's a role model now to so many younger girls and boys. I'm really glad that he mentioned that there's a few girls playing as well, because it's so important that there's no glass ceiling for girls in this game either. And we've got those NCAA games and all every year now. It's really important to that part of the fan base as well. Dicko speaks so well, so passionately about this club and this country. And he's a pleasure to support.
Simon, as a local ice hockey legend yourself, how important is it to have that sort of local representation within the Belfast Giants and to have it in the persona of Andrew Dixon?
He brought up a really good point. Again, there's a lot of people that have said down the lines that there's players that don't get a chance. It's very, very simple, and I've said this numerous times before. You'll get your chance, but if you're not good enough, you're not going to last. Hockey player is not just about being the talent. You've got to have it up here as well. This is a professional league. It's not a development league. Dicko has taken, again, not stepping on the ice until he was 17 years of age, and then ended up, okay, Davy's touched on it, that hasn't played a lot of games, but being at that club and this club for over 10 years now, that's unbelievable, because he's got the hardest position to play. You think about You know, I don't know, Davy will have the stats. So many teams, I think he's played about 40 games overall, Davy?
Yeah, not many, like.
You know, but having to stand on that bench and be mentally ready to go in at any time during the game if there's an injury is not an easy thing to do. He's just texting me here now. Let's see if he's back. His phone died, so he's probably going to go back on here again now.
Come on and finish the show with us.
If he comes back, here, hold on a minute. Yeah, sorry, finish what you were saying, sis, because I think we might have somebody rejoin us in a second.
Yeah, so I mean, the whole sorry, I keep on forgetting that we can't edit it anymore. Sorry, David or Paddy. You know, he's got the hardest job to do. It's an incredibly hard job, and I can't praise the guy enough. I just think he's brilliant. It's just Davy says, I love him. I think Dicko's one of the best guys that I've ever met in ice hockey. Unfortunately, I think I've only played a couple of practices with him before. But you know, he's underestimated himself. He's got guys that have played in the NHL that are going down on him on breakaways and morning practices to basically win a bagel for breakfast the next morning. And then there's nothing more. And I'm going to touch on it here in a minute with regards with regard to making a save on Adam Keefe. He loves it. I'm going to ask him to make his back on.
We'll bring him back in a second because I see that he's back in the room. He's just waiting. But Joe, you were going to say something before I bring him back in. Because you can say things about him now and he can't answer, do we bring him back in? So.
Just on that, the thing we haven't talked about, whenever he gets the nod, his second full start for the Giants was in Paul Adey's year, the championship year, 2013-14. He was in the pipes for a full 3 periods, and we had a comeback win against the then Braehead Clan at the arena. I've never heard the place go as crazy. I've never seen the boys so delighted for a player. So don't forget that when called upon, the man will win you games like.
Go on then, Andrew. Tell us about that comeback win against the Braehead Clan.
You're bound to remember it.
Turn your phone on.
I remember going three goals down. So I remember. We actually had a really good team that year. So that was actually, I'll tell you a wee story. I remember, obviously, we were on that big run. Remember, it was something like, I need to turn my phone around.
Nice.
There we go. It was something like, I don't know. Remember we went on that like big mad winning streak for a while?
Yep.
And then Paul didn't want to give that up. He didn't want to give up the winning streak. So he wouldn't play me, basically. So they were getting, like, the boys were kind of, armed to play me. And then it comes to like a Friday and wherever it was. And we get back in, it was in Dundee, we get back in the room. And I think it was Colin Shields. He's like, here, Paul wants to speak to you. And I was like, oh, okay, right. And Paul never really speaks to me, like, unless he needs to. So I was like, all right, okay. So I go in, I'm like, kind of like a little nervous, a little excited, and knock on the door in Dundee. Paul, are you looking for me? He's like, oh, Dicko, yeah. Are you doing coffees after practice? Like, because I used to in the coffee shop. It's like, yeah, I'll make your coffee, Paul. And I didn't start for like another 2 weeks after that. So. But I think we're
what a man.
But I'm not slagging Paul Adey. Don't get me wrong. I'm really not.
Sounded like
it. Sounded like
but
it.
He gave me like one of my first starts. Or whatever. He gave me 3 of them, I think, actually that year. So I was very chuffed. But I thought, I don't know. Colin Shields loves that story. So.
Yeah, I just want to cover a couple of things. Just literally touching on that. You talked about the 3 games that you played, or whatever it was, for when Adey was there. Have you a game that sticks in your head as your best game that you played, or the most memorable game that you've played?
Yeah, and it's a loss. I remember it was Kevin Westgarth's first game in the Odyssey, and the place was pretty busy. And Murph blew his groin, like, I don't know, 30 seconds into the game. I didn't even have my hat on yet when I got to the bench. So I went in, played that game. We won that game, so that was good. Then we played in Cardiff the next night in the tent, and it is a tent. It's about the size of my bedroom, that place. If you've never been there, it's like if you compete with Manchester, it's the same as Manchester, and
without the solid walls.
Manchester's less canvassy.
It doesn't. There's no danger of it blowing over. But it was a tough game, and we actually lost. But I actually thought I played pretty well that night. And I was quite disappointed that we lost, obviously. But I remember making a couple of big saves. And I don't know. To be honest with you, you'd think that you would remember more, but I don't. I don't really remember too much. The they say goalies have that like short memory thing, which is kind of important, for both ways. So if you have a bad performance, you forget about it quick. But if you have a good performance, you equally forget about it quick. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Either that, or it's just because I haven't played in a while. But so
also you forget about how quick those pucks come at you, so you don't remember that, and you go back and go.
Yeah, you shouldn't remember when it hits you in the throat. But yeah, but no, I don't know. Like it sounds real, cheesy and cliche. But any time you can get out and play in front of the home fans is actually usually pretty special. As long as you do all right. I remember one time having a disaster of a game. I was like against Edinburgh. That was pretty bad for the other reason as well. But whatever. It's over now. So as you said, hopefully there's at least a couple more before we're done. To take into retirement, but that's I don't know. It's hard to look back, and I'm not too much for looking back and talking myself up, despite what people might think. But yeah.
Dicko, again, just one thing. It's a 2-point question to finish us off here. You were a teammate of Adam. The chirping that the two of you do together is just epic. Obviously you've seen him as a coach as well, so I wanted to ask you, he's been in there now his position for technically 4 years. What ways he changed from the player to the coach? And the second part of the question to finish it off is about the banter that you have with regards to shootouts at the end of practice, because there's nobody you try harder than to keep that puck out than against Adam.
Yeah, well, first point, about that changing, it is tough to change from being a player to a coach, because there's times where you need to be a little tougher on guys. You can't be everyone's best friend. You have to make tough decisions. And I've seen coaches in the past, not just in Belfast, struggle with that. They try to be one of the boys. That doesn't work, So, and then one thing I actually kind of asked him about it one time. I think I was out golfing with him during, once we were back out in the pandemic, and I was kind of asking him what the crack was, and if there was any coaches he kind of based it on, and he sort of said that if you try and be genuine, and have bring your own sort of personality to it, it tends to come across more genuine. He said that he had coaches who were real hard ass coaches, is what you call it in the NHL. Hard on guys. I don't know, someone like what do you call the guy who won for the Rangers? Iron Mike. What's Iron Mike's name? Anyway, that's the one. Yeah. Some guys loved him, but so if you're a coach, you can't just steal someone else's style, because it comes across as not genuine. Or you can't be too soft. So I think he's done a real good job. The first year, he had a younger team. So he still had a lot of guys in the team who he played with before, and I think that's tough as well. Now he's really only got me, Garce, and Wiss, who he's played with. And with me and Garce, we've sort of been there long enough, and seen what he's done for the organisation that that we respect him. So the other guys, he just has to do his own thing with them, and I think he's done a fantastic job. Don't tell him I said this, but for someone who I used to rip into so much about having zero talent on the ice, he is switched on. He has a hockey brain. He's someone who in his career made a career out of going into the dirty areas on the ice, having to fight, and being one of those guys, and he knows the game inside out, and it kind of surprised me a little bit about how technically aware he was. So, he'll only get better as he gets more experience. Obviously, we know his connection with Sheldon, with the Leafs and stuff, but don't get me wrong, he's definitely not being, Sheldon's not holding his hand. Kiefer's doing his own thing, and he would want to do his own thing. You would know that by his personality if you know him. I think he's doing a fantastic job. And that's why it won't take long for the guys to come around and play for him, because they sort of know what he's done. And once they get to know him, they'll know how much this organisation means to him. So yeah, that's the first point. What was the second point you asked me? I can't even remember.
The right shootout at the end of practices that you do.
Yeah, like bagel boy and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, is this here? It's a bit of a confession, but that's good for the players, as well. That if you can make the coach lose, they love it, and it's one that's saving them a little bit of money. But it's the same with every coach. The same with Doug Christensen, same with Paulie if he ever done it, and extremely the same with Derek Walser. Try and make them lose. Try and make them. You feel like you're winning one over, and it's good for the dressing room. It's good for the morale, and equally, if I'm having a bad show, they love it. So they do. They love watching me cry. So they do. I hate it. Like, I don't pull my hair out, but they love it. So it's twofold. And if you seen it earlier, like Besco was definitely going a lot easier when it got down to the last couple on the players, because we want to bring it down to Mace and Stewie whenever he's about as well. So,
or would be still the way they were going, we're probably still be sitting in practice.
No, I know the poor Kiefer, but no, that's revenge, man. I was giving off to him, and that skate for the fans. Haven't played for 18 months. He puts me in a shootout. Oh, cheers, mate! So we've had a few more bagels before the end of the year, hopefully. But when you're saying about the banter, it's the same thing. I have to know where my line is. With him being a friend, basically, which he is, and a coach. I can't rip the piss around the gut there either. And I wouldn't want to, and he wouldn't let you either. So, no, the banter is good, and he's good for it. And, he was a fun guy as a player, and he gets what it's like, So it works really well, and obviously his success, our success. So it all comes together.
Dicko, listen, we could sit here and listen to you tell stories for hours on end, mate. We love having you on this show, and I do as much as we love to see you on the ice from a personal point of view. I also love seeing you or listening to you when you're next to that man, Mr. Kitchen, on commentary. It's always really, really entertaining. You give some really good insight into the game. With the game on Friday just around the corner, and given the last 18 months and that last game we were supposed to have, that last game we did have, and the amount of time we've waited. More so for the guys like yourself, Garsh, maybe even Darcy, Besco, Kiefer, Mace, the guys who know what it's like to be in that SSE Arena when it's game time. How excited are the guys to get out on the ice once again, given the last 18 months we've had?
Yeah, well, I would argue that those guys who played in the Stream Series, if you ask them what it was like playing in front of empty arenas, basically playing for a pod or like a stream, which you don't get any feedback, no home advantage or anything like that there. And with everything that we've been through, and people who have, hopefully there's not too many of the Belfast fan base, who have been badly affected by, the COVID-19. But it's going to be probably quite emotional for some people. I mean, this, the hockey world it's very tight, very tight knit. People really bond well together. We see people like Ethan McLean, that kid hasn't been out in basically a year and a half. He's been stuck in the house. So I don't know if he can come to the game or not. And if he's on the web, if he's watched on the webcast, we know that. And, or we'll still be playing hard for him, but it'll be amazing to get back in front of the fans. And so much has changed, since we last were out there. People have had kids, people have, got together and got married and things like that there. So it's going to be nice to see what, the Giants family have sort of come or grown into. And I know there's lots of people have messaged me saying they can't wait to get back. And I think for those guys who haven't played here before, they're going to get a good surprise. Hopefully, I don't know what way it works with the ticket numbers or the seating numbers. Hopefully we're allowed as many in as possible and we get a good crowd, because it's going to be very fun getting back. I'm sure you guys are looking forward to it as much as I am.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Well, listen, we hope you get a few starts and a few bit of ice time this season. We really do. We look forward to that time. And listen, thanks once again for joining us. We love having you on. Yeah,
no problem at all, boys. I'll catch you all at the arena on Friday.
Cheers, Dicko. Cheers, man.
Top man. Listen, I say we could have him on this show for hours on end. He tells some great stories. He's just a really nice guy to be around. Really positive attitude to his own career. Really positive attitude to the team, to the fan base. And exactly the sort of guy you want at the Belfast Giants. So big thank you to Andrew Dixon for that. Lads, we've got just a couple of more things to do before we finish up this week's show. Fixtures ahead. We have that game finally. It's been 18 months. But on Friday night at 7 p.m, your Belfast Giants return to action at the SSE Arena against Omar Pasha's Dundee Stars. 7 p.m. get yourself down there. More tickets have been released today based on the announcement today by the Northern Ireland executive that there's no more social distancing in indoor theatres and indoor events like that. So more tickets are available. If you haven't got one, get yourself down. This is the first game the Belfast Giants have played at home in 18 months. This is a big deal. We've all missed this game. We're all really looking forward to it. I can't wait to get home to it. And to go up against Omar Pasha's Stars, we got a real good chance here to sort of get ourselves in a strong position in this Challenge Cup group. But I think that to me, that's by the by. To me, I'm just looking forward to seeing those boys out on that ice and playing again. 7 p.m. Friday on Giants TV. I'm going to talk about the other game in a second, but Davy, you're heading back for it as well. How important is this game? How much are you looking forward to this game on Friday night?
A bit of goosebumps there, Paddy, just listening to you actually articulate that this is actually happening. There was a long time there. When would this happen? When would the executive, I'm sure Joel, possibly even more than any of us, works in an industry where, he's been desperate for it to reopen. And this is, green shoots that we always talk about. I think maybe the first podcast of every season has been called like green shoots or something, those green shoots are starting to appear now, and hopefully people can come back in a safe way. COVID's still out there. We always have to be careful, double jabbed, and if you can, and I'm not advocating for or against it. It's people's personal decision, but if people want to get life back to normal, it seems the sensible thing to do is get yourself vaccinated against this terrible disease. But look, back to hockey, lads. This Friday night, 7 o'clock, as you say, Paddy, that puck's going to drop. And we know no matter how many people are in Arborn, go to the Continental Cup final from a couple of seasons ago there when it wasn't a huge crowd, but I have never heard it as noisy. And I'm hoping Friday night, 7 o'clock, it's going to almost replicate that. I know it's not a cup final, but it's like a cup final to us because it's coming home again, and it's great to be back in the Odyssey, and it's going to be great to see the teams getting back out of that home dressing room and on the ice.
Says I'm going to give you the last word here because I'm going to go to Joel next. From you, Davy mentioned obviously your role within Hospitality Ulster. It's been very difficult to try to find that way try to influence to a way that we can get back to some sort of normality. Me and Davy, we live over here in England. There's been a level of the restrictions have been lifted for quite a while, and there's that level of normality around us right now. But back home with you guys in Belfast, it's not been like that. We are getting to that, and Friday, the Belfast Giants have an opportunity to get a larger crowd in that SSE Arena straight away.
I think it's a sort of landmark moment in the past 18 months, to be honest, and personal context to that is that I'm very, very conscious of the danger that COVID, that COVID poses to everyone. I stayed in during lockdown. I wear my mask in the shop. I'm quite happily double vaccinated, and I'd be happy to tell anybody that I am and the reasons why. So it's very easy to have the opinion that because we advocate for the hospitality industry that we don't care about the health impact of COVID. But it's at the point now where, you look around, we're playing every hand that we've got, where the vaccination rollout is what it is. It's something that apparently we're going to have to live with. And it just seems that it's time now, looking around the rest of the UK and Ireland and further afield as well, that it's time to try and get our lives back a wee bit. Nobody wants to be in this mess, and everybody wants their lives back. And I think that's just where we're at. And I think if you look, the contrast in imagery between looking at that arena as a mass vaccination centre, and that's where I got my first and second jabs, and I was completely unprepared for how emotional it felt to walk into a place that I have so many happy memories tied to with my friends and with you guys and with the team, and to walk back into that then a couple of months down the line and see that ice on the floor and see teal jerseys queuing up to get in. It was a real moment, that I kind of dreamed about during the lockdowns. I'm like, one day we will get to this. One day we'll arrive at this and we'll know that we're on our way out, whatever else. We've got challenges to face, but I just think it's incredibly special. I think this club, Belfast needs this club needs Belfast. A lot of people need it now, maybe more than they ever had, and I can only echo Davy. I think it's going to be a very, very special night, and get yourself down, get into the mix. And I've also just realized that it's probably the first time that the four of us have been together at the same time since the playoffs in 2019.
Yeah. That's actually a good shout, that. And if there's one thing to be said about new things opening up and restrictions lifting up again, is that we'll not really have to listen to your Dan Nolan again.
Listen, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Can he escape the man?
It seems to be a weekly thing. He's getting his own show. He's on there more than Jim Alistair. So
not the Nolan show, it's a needed show now.
Listen, you've just said the one word we're not allowed to say on this show.
That's very true.
Jim Alistair?
Jim Alistair. Sorry, it says, come back to yourself. Now, obviously, you've put a lot of hard work over the last number of weeks. We spoke last week about your new role within the organisation. You know exactly the amount of work that's going on behind the scenes building up to this first game back at the SSE Arena. And you yourself, behind the mic, Giants TV, going to be preparing for this game on Friday. What are your thoughts coming in? The game is the game, but what are your thoughts coming back?
I was doing the maths earlier on, and I'm doing my homework on Dundee and even our own team. Obviously we know the players that have come in, but I need to look at their stats to try and bring that. I don't want to talk about pizza and chicken all night. I want to bring across the facts for the team. I know Davy's going to be with me on Friday night, which I'm really looking forward to. And I'm sure Paddy and Joel will be there too, but we're not allowed to, as long as they're holding a pint of Heineken, official sponsor, we'll be okay. It's 584 days on Friday since our last game. That's just, it's just incredible when you think about, what's happened in between times. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. It's been far too long. And, I'm lucky enough to spend a hell of a lot of with Jasmine. We spent more or less the first year of lockdown and all okay. There was a few blips in between, but we just more or less spent the whole year together. And that's something that I can never, never forget. And going to work every single day, and Jazz is going to school. You don't get to spend that quality time with her. We had a laugh for the whole duration. I remember sitting at this fairy table playing dominoes, losing the dominoes, and the bet was whoever lost had to go with everything they had on to get into the hot tub, get in, roll over, and get back out again. And I lost on a Tuesday afternoon, after she did her schoolwork. But getting back to the most important thing, the hockey, it's incredible that we've got it back. It's something that we're not going to be able, we can't take this for granted. I know the face-offs at 7 or 7, whenever it is, but I'm going to try and put out now for as many people as possible to be in their seat for 6:20. We've got a warm-up starting at 6:20. The boys will be coming out on the ice for the first time in front of our fans that in a competitive fixture. And I think that everybody, as humanly possible, should get to the arena early, be in your seat for 6:20, and welcome your team on the ice. I think that would be absolutely incredible. I know that a lot of the Giants fans were in place for Dundee. They were waiting for the team to come out, and there was a big cheer as soon as they come out. But see if we could get a cheer along the same sort of decibels as what Davy touched on from the Continental Cup for our team coming out on Friday night. That would just be unbelievable. So, if we can, it's a big thing. I know Adam is really, really looking forward to it. I know the players are looking forward to it. The staff at the arena are knocking their pan in to get everything put in place. There's so much. We talk about, the restrictions being lifted there last night when the announcement was, and obviously, there was what time was it last night, Joel? It was 9 o'clock or something. So, if it's 9 o'clock last night, we couldn't do anything about that for an hour, 12 hours until we get back into the arena and the office had opened and everything's getting to work. Putting everything in place to know that there's a potential of 6,500, 7,000 people being in the arena on Saturday night. It's not something that can happen overnight. So, hopefully we can get as many people in as possible safely, make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing and following the instructions of the staff. That's vitally important. Because to make this work, we need the public and we need the fans to help. So hopefully we can do that and we can make this a huge success because, as I say, nearly 600 days being out of that building is far, far too long.
Well said. There's nothing more to add to that. The Belfast Giants will face the Dundee Stars at 7 p.m. Get yourself in your seat for 6:20 on Friday night at the SSE Arena. If you cannot make it down there, and I don't know why you can't, maybe everybody has a reason, but if you can't make it down there, you can join season. Is Davy joining you, is he?
Looking forward to it, and I'm sure
Mr.
you'll
Mcghimsey.
be on at some point as well.
Mr. Kitchen and Mr. Mcghimsey on Giants TV. The return fixture will be on Sunday, 5 p.m. in Dundee at the Dundee Ice Arena. And if you're not making a trip over for Sunday at 5 p.m., you can catch that on Dundee Stars TV. Any other business, gentlemen? Anything? No?
Nope.
I think just to pick up really quickly on what Sis said, the staff, and obviously a big high turnover over the past kind of year and a half. A lot has changed, a lot of new faces, and a lot of people learning a lot of things as they go as well. I think the staff at the arena, be it the operational side, be it the Giants match day, the Giants back room, the Odyssey Trust staff up and down, I think they have worked themselves to the bone to make this happen, the rebrand, as Sis says, the operational stuff to get the game in place. And I think it's probably taken for granted, to be honest, just the amount of long hours, late nights, and sort of learning on the job as they go, trying to put this thing on. I'm certainly grateful for the people that are in that building, and I think they've done an absolutely smashing job, and I don't think the show would be happening without them, to be honest.
It wouldn't. You're absolutely right, Joel. Sorry, Paddy. You're 100% right. You know, I see Glover going out of here at, around about 8 o'clock in the morning. Some nights he's not home till after 9. Task's exactly the same. The amount of hours that he's been putting in over the last month is just unbelievable. He's just a perfectionist. And I know that it's not easy, and he's getting on a bit like. I know it's not easy for him, but the amount of hours that he does, and he just wants to make sure everything's in place, and again, the operational side, see David Lamont and Lisa and Claire Cosgrave, Glover, as I've mentioned as well, all the guys, the electricians. It's just a massive team effort. You don't realize what goes on behind the scenes. I'll be honest, I genuinely never realized. I'm okay. I'm officially on within the organization now, but you just don't realize that the glue that's got to be put together to put something like this on, and they do it, better than anybody else. It's that simple. So it's a massive shout out to the arena, the Odyssey Trust, obviously all the staff at the arena as well, because Friday night come along. I'm sure we're all agreed to it. We just can't wait for this.
Yeah, it's a big arena to try to run a show like this. It takes a lot of people to do it, but everybody digs in. And also a big shout for the brand new website. I think looks fantastic. I know that like yourself, Joe, and Davy and all were involved in getting that and helping and put that out. I think I think it looks fantastic. The new branding on it, the new look to it. I think it's all part of something that funny that Dicko said earlier on. There's a new feel to this organization. There's a fresh feel to this organization, and hopefully we'll be coming back in with 2 points against the Dundee Stars on Friday night. And with that, gentlemen, I think we'll wrap things up. As we said, the game on Friday night, 7 p.m. Get yourself in your seat for 6:20. Don't let Mr. Kitchen down. Get yourself in your seat for 6:20 and see those guys onto the ice for warm-up at the SSE Arena. If you can't be there, Giants TV will take you through the entire game. And then on Sunday, 5 p.m., Dundee Stars against the Belfast Giants, the return fixture, back on Tayside. And you can catch that if you're not going over there with the guys on Dundee Stars TV. Big thanks to Jeff Mason, Ciaran Long, Jordan Boucher, and of course to Andrew Dickson for his time. You can catch us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast. You can catch us on YouTube. Hello, if you're watching on YouTube, we'll see how long this goes. Actually, quite a good platform. Quite enjoying the way we have put some of the videos and stuff on. If you've not watched it on YouTube, give it a go. You can catch us. Just type AVFTB into YouTube. KingdomoftheGiants.com, Twitter at AVFTB, Facebook as well. We're all over the place. Might even get a bit of Instagram going, Davy.
Nice.
Yeah, maybe. Gentlemen, good to see you here. Good to see you on the screen. Looking forward to seeing you Friday.
Likewise. Thanks, boys.
And you, Paddy, David, Joe.
And wherever you are this weekend, we hope you enjoy your hockey, and we'll catch you here next time on A View from the Bridge.